Hi there, welcome back, and in this lecture we will be now looking at audience reports explained in more detail. Now in the section which we've also touched on, it's probably the most data hungry section, so that means there's a wealth of data to get your teeth into. So as you know, we've covered overview already, so if you select audience, and as I said, we've covered overview, so what I will be doing in this lecture is going over the rest of these sections, well, the ones that I think are the most important. And again, we'll just be using the Google Merchandising Store just to show you the live data on that, or the stored data, I should say. Okay, now first up we have active users. So you just click that on the left. Now, this is simply the number of unique users who initiated sessions on your site for the last day of your date range. So the last 7 days, the last 14 days, and the last 30 days. And this is very useful, especially the graph here. So by default, the 1 day active user is selected for this line graph. You can select the others to overlay on this should you wish. So you can overlay the 7 day active users, 14 day, and 28 days. Although usually I just leave the 1 day, or I do one at a time. If I do compare them, I only compare two at a time, because sometimes you have a bit overload of information on these graphs. So we'll just leave it at the 1 day active users. Now, and you can see it down here, the total number. So this data is very useful in determining if your users have dropped off or you're getting a good consistent volume of traffic. Okay, so next up, one of the more important sections is lifetime value. Now you can see a graph here of revenue per user for your date range. Now if you scroll down here, you can see all of your acquisition channels, where they came from, your traffic. You can see the total number of users, the revenue per user, and the total revenue that you accumulated from that particular acquisition channel, from each acquisition channel. So great information here, so good. And also you can change this as well. So you've got acquisition channel, you can change that to acquisition source. So you can see exactly where they came from. This is YouTube, sites.google.com, google.com, you've got Facebook down there as well. And again, you can see the same information, the total users, revenue per user, and revenue. And the same thing you can do for medium and campaign. Now, that's very important for another reason as well, because it's always good to look at this regularly. But sometimes you might think a certain medium is the best performing, as in the number of users you're getting, and so on, but it's actually not generating that much revenue. Like you can see organic traffic, it's only, well, I say only, but compared to the rest, it's generated 587,000. And you can see referrals are generating nearly 4 million. So you can see the referrals are giving you a lot more revenue per user. So it's a real eye-opener, some of the information you can obtain from this data. Now next up, I will scroll down to demographics. This is the next important section, I would say, from my experience. So this is an eye-opener. So this shows you basically out of your users, what gender the makeup is of them, and the age ranges. So if you look at age here, it's a great little graph here. So it shows you the age range in colours, and against whatever date range you've selected, and it shows you the number of users. So you can see straight off the bat that 25 to 34 is from that age range, you've got the greatest number of users, but all of them drop off, as you can see, so towards the middle of the week or after the first 3 days, and then they climb back up again. But you can see here straight away that the type of product that you have is more attractive to 25 to 34 years old. So if that wasn't your target market, then this is something that you would need to look at. Why is these people are mostly going onto your website? But I mean, this is just users. You may find different if you look at, you can look at other information apart from that, like e-commerce, maybe average order value. So this might show you some other information, so you can see it fluctuates quite a lot here. So 55 to 64 year olds had, if you come up here, you can see here, so they had $511, the average order value. So it's a great amount. And you can see, so it fluctuates quite wildly, but you can deduce certain information from here as well. So under users, it was just all 25 to 34 year olds, which are still doing well, but in certain stages, some of the other date ranges are catching up, and as you can see in this day, the 55 to 64 year olds are clearly beating every other date range. So get great information from there. And if you scroll down here, there you can see these date ranges split up into those categories. Again, you have acquisition, behavior, and conversion. So we were just looking at conversion for the last 7 days, but this is overall for those days. So you can see here the number of users, sessions. You can even see bounce rate for those particular age ranges, average session duration. So there's so much information. There's absolute wealth of knowledge here. I particularly love this section, as I've ran campaigns aimed at specific age ranges purely on the back of the data I've taken from here, and I've had more successes than failures, might I add. So anyway, moving on from this, the next really good section is geo, which is just for sort of location they're in. And if you go into the location, now here you can see which country is performing the best. You can delve deeper and you can see what city, region as well. So obviously the Google merchandising store is focusing purely, well, it's not focusing on, but it's just most of the users are from the US that are logging onto the website, purchasing and so on. But then you've got India as your second highest, the country that's giving you the second highest number of users, and then United Kingdom, Canada. So you can definitely get really good information from here. You can again split up into acquisition, behavior, and conversions. You can see the revenue here, and so you can see the total revenue. For example, in India, it's the country where the second most frequent users are coming from, but there's actually no revenue at all there, which is a bit strange. But there you go. I mean, you can deduce certain information just from that. You might not want to target that country on certain campaigns just based on this, but obviously you wouldn't just base it on this, but just showing you as an example if you were to use this. On the flip side, you might just want to focus on one particular country for new campaigns. So it's great at that little help on finding your key audience, and then you can concentrate on them. So next up we have behavior. Now you've got new versus returning, which we have looked at in one of the previous lectures, but you've also got frequency and recency, and you've got engagement. So this is where you can see, if you just open it up, you can see sessions grouped into time segments and which number of successive sessions are performing the best. So you can see 0 to 10 seconds always performs the best, because that's the large number of customers are just on for the first time. So most of them will quickly make their mind up something they're not really interested in and come right out of your site. So that will always have a large number of users, that particular session duration. But you can see way down up here, 61 to 180 seconds is the second highest. So these people are definitely interested in certain products or the products you're selling. So you can look at this and find really good relevant information from this. So next up we have session quality. So let's wait for that to load. Now this is very useful. So as you can see, channel grouping to quickly see which channel is performing the best. So in this instance, you can just see straight off the bat, referrals are doing really good. You can see they're bringing in the most revenue and also have the best conversion rate. So you can see a load of great information here. And again, you can even go delve deeper into secondary traffic, and as you've seen previously. So there's just so much information here, as you can see. Next up we have technology. So here, let me just quickly go into that. Browser and OS. So you can see what device operating system your users are on when they're on your site, as well as browser. And next up we have mobile. If you go into overview, and if you go into devices, now this is another great feature. So at first you think it's pretty obvious which mobiles might be performing, but you'll be surprised by the sheer amount of different mobile types. So there's 615 pages here, so even if you go up to 100, you see a whole load of different mobile phones. And you can see usually it's always Apple ones and Android ones that are doing the best. But you can see so much information here, and you can see on specific mobiles, again, split up into acquisition, behavior and conversions. You can make your mind up, maybe you're just going to be focusing on certain types of mobiles because they're bringing in most of the revenue and conversions. So it's great little information there. Okay, so that's basically the end of this overview of the audience section. So there's a great amount of information, different data that you can bring out from here. So you can have a play around with it, see what you find yourself, maybe little gold nuggets that you find just from this one section here. So I will see you on the next lecture.